we lose out a bit on these things, don't we? We're easy fodder to be criticised.
That's a very good point you're making there, because I never thought of it that way. I just thought, I thought about it in a general sense, but now that you've said that, I'm thinking, yeah, you wouldn't criticize a woman for having work done, would you? I don't think
Well, we wouldn't
society.
dare, would we? Really,
No, you would. No,
we
you
wouldn't.
wouldn't.
We wouldn't dare.
I'm not that brave.
Absolutely right. No, we
That's,
wouldn't. Nor
that's,
should the women be criticised.
yeah,
There's nothing wrong in people wanting to look the best they can. I mean, that's the bottom line, I think, isn't it?
that's true. Yeah, I mean,
And there's a case actually I've got with now I think about it in my own family.
yeah,
A few years ago, when my daughter was at school.
right,
Now she had she was always very pretty. My
yeah,
daughter Angela. I think one of my songs, "Little Lady," is about Angela,
right,
and she was always very conscious that her nose was a bit wider than she liked.
right,
And try as we may, my wife then and I, we said, well, you are lovely, and obviously I would be the first to show understanding, especially of one of my kids
yeah,
or anyone in my family, if they were really distressed about something.
yeah,
She did look lovely, but she didn't like the fact that her septum, which is that bit of the nose,
yeah,
was a bit wider than she wanted. Um, I think I've got a fairly wide nose, so maybe that's where she got it.
yeah,
Anyway, she was very upset, and as far as I remember, there were one or two girls at school who commented and really gave her a bit of a complex.
yeah,
So anyway, I think we took her to the doctors to see what was what when she was sort of 14, and they said, well, no, her nose is fine. She can breathe properly through it. And also, they wouldn't want to do a nose job. Can't think what that's called. It's can't remember now. It doesn't matter. Until she's fully grown, which
yeah.
would be, I guess, when someone's 18 or 19. Anyway, long story short, she got progressively more depressed, which
Oh,
is very sad to see. So I took her to see a private doctor,
right,
um, just get a different opinion, a second opinion on what he could do.
yeah,
And actually, he was very good, and he sort of went through the possibility of doing. Um, it's a what is it? Plasty, a rhinoplasty. I think it's a rhinoplasty. Anyway,
yeah,
and he said, "Yeah, we could do this," and he drew these diagrams, and she was very taken with it. And I remember she pleaded with me.
yeah,
Um, I mean, I think her mother probably spoke common sense when she said, "Look, you must wait till you're grown. If you get it done now, they chip away some of your septum,
yeah,
then it could all go badly wrong
yeah,
as you grow a bit more." So I think she spoke some sense. But I suppose with me, I was never kind of an emotional softy with my kids, my son and my daughter, never have been.
yeah,
But I like to think I've always had that understanding, of what someone might go through. I think in my marriage, quite a long
yeah,
marriage it was. I think my wife was always the she had more of the male side of it. She didn't ever really want to talk about any issues or problems either we had or she had.
yeah,
Whereas I would always say, yeah, let's talk it out, let's sort this out, and that's always been. And also, I think as a man, I've always been able to express my emotions. I mean, I've always liked the fact that I can do that.
right,
Maybe I'm too open a book. I think
yeah,
occasionally that can be the case. But anyway, I listened to Angela, and I said, okay, we'll go back to this surgeon in Brighton. It was a private chat, and we'll arrange it. And of course, when we went back to him, I said, look, could this be particularly risky in terms of what could happen in the future? He said, well, there's a very small chance that as she grows a bit more, it could all kind of collapse on itself. And I said, well,
Yeah.
would that be rectified? Could you correct that? He said, oh, yeah, we could sort it out. Anyway, I said, okay, we'll do it. And I think literally a week or two later, she went into a private hospital in Tunbridge Wells
Yeah.
in Kent. And she had it done. She was in there for 2 or 3 days, and when we went in after the operation, poor girl, I mean, she had two huge black eyes because that's what happens when they do a nose job, a
All right.
rhinoplasty. She had things stuck up her nose to stop the blood and so on, and she looked a real sight. Bless her. I
Oh,
mean, but she was so happy because what she could see of her nose, it was much narrower.
yeah.
And anyway, she came out of hospital, and gradually the black eyes went, and we had to take some Polaroid photos of her nose at that stage. And the surgeon said it will change a bit. So it was quite interesting each day looking at her and seeing if there were any changes. Anyway, after it did change a bit,
Right.
but I would have to say after um, a week, maybe 2 weeks, as far as I can remember, it was absolutely perfect. And I mean, she was attractive and pretty before, but I think it's fair to say that she was stunning to look at,
Wow.
and that nose job gave her so much self confidence. I mean, she changed out of all recognition, really, for the better.
Wow.
So that, as you said, that's a medical kind of thing. There was a good reason,
Yeah.
and both the surgeon and
Yeah.
myself, we saw that if we didn't do this, she could really, go into a big depression or who knows what. So that was a very positive piece of cosmetic surgery.
Mm.
The sad um, soliloquy, that's not the word. Anyway, whatever the word I want, the sad result nowadays for the last 4 or 5 years, most of the family have been entirely estranged from her. I might have said this before, but she, they divorced. The girl's parents divorced. Angela and Rob. He's still very much part of the girl's life.
Yeah.
Um, but Angela, the chap she went with, well, without going into any of that, he didn't make any attempt to integrate with our family or anything. And
Ah.
Angela seemed to change out of all recognition, which is very sad.
Yeah.
But I don't have any ill feeling towards her, but I just don't see her. My son has no contact with her, and sadly, Kimberly and Lucy have no contact with her, and that's been the case actually since just before the lockdown. So it's quite a long time.
Wow.
I mean, the girls are fine, um, and we jog along. But it's always a bit sad when this happens in a family. But I think it happens more than surprising the number of people who you talk to who
Yeah.
have a similar kind of situation in their own family.
That's very true. That's very true. While you was talking about the experience with your Angela, it just sort of make me think about it just sort of brought to mind the wider problem. And I'm not talking about back then, I'm talking about today. There's a
Right.
wider range of problems, don't it? Because then it's gone from being just the appearance now to being about who they are, the personality.
Yeah. Yeah.
They seem to want to change it by then changing their sex, for instance.
The
Uh,
trans thing. Yeah.
yeah, and there was a case that they kept talking about where this young, this young human, because I don't know what to call her now, because if they've transitioned, you don't want to.
You got to be so careful. Yeah.
I know you don't want to. You
Yeah.
don't want to. I think the word I'm looking for is dead name. You don't want to dead name them by
No.
calling
No.
them the previous gender. So anyway, this human being then went to court and is seeking the court's help to then overturn, prosecute. I think it would it the NHS or anyway some health body that authorized the sex change because
Right.
what they were saying, or he or she was saying, was that at the time they weren't